Hey everyone, welcome to 3 Beers Deep for July 13th, 2015. It is officially hot in Chicago. It is 84 degrees out. I'm sweating balls, and I'm mostly just waiting for my wife to get back home so I can turn on the AC and start cooling down a little bit. I try and keep it off during the day because there's a decent amount of breeze in the city. But as much as I have complained about Chicago not being warm, I think we've officially gotten into the warm season. So in the celebration of the warm season, I'm going to sweat through these questions for you. And I'm going to bring them up now. 3 Beers Deep is my weekly Q&A show. You can ask questions at patrickklubnik.tumblr.com. I tend to answer questions, at least a couple of them, on a daily basis over there. And then I pluck from that selection of questions for this video, which you can also listen to on iTunes under Inventory Management. And also inventorymanagement.simplecast.fm. Where you can stream them there. Kibbles asks, will the new Star Fox have anything half as awesome as the literal Independence Day fight for Star Fox in Star Fox 64? I had completely forgotten that part was in Star Fox 64. If there are a couple of movies I'm obsessed with when I was a kid, it's like Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then as I was getting older, Jurassic Park and Independence Day. I saw Independence Day so many times. It coincided with my love of the X-Files and Aliens and just sort of like general sci-fi concepts, generally speaking. And so when I played Star Fox 64, and the fact that we could play a fight that was literally inspired by Independence Day, or if it wasn't, it really felt like it was literally inspired by Independence Day, in which there's just a big ship in the middle and you're fighting hundreds of different fighters, and then you take down that ship. Just, get me pumped up just thinking about it. I don't know if it seems doubtful the new game is going to have a level like that. But please, Platinum Games, if you're watching this, do the right thing. Have Independence Day inspired stages in your new Star Fox game, because I want that in HD. I want 60 frames a second, Independence Day dogfighting, because they're not going to make an Independence Day video game. Okay, they might, but it'll be a mobile game or some downloadable piece of crap, and it's not going to be good. I basically want Nintendo to make an Independence video game. And if they're not going to do an Independence Day video game, then throw it in your Star Fox level. Part of what I loved about that was that it was so different than what you were used to in a Star Fox stage. And like most Star Fox stages were sort of these, these very linear affairs. You're kind of going down a corridor, mountains are bounding you off, or even when you're in space, the space battles tended to be like sort of a narrow go forward, dodge the things. And that Independence Day stage was so amazing because it was just like, here's this huge open environment, do your thing. And then also Independence Day, Independence Day, Independence Day, Independence Day, Independence Day, Independence Day, Independence Day. I need to watch that movie again. Anonymous asks, got Elite Dangerous off Steam playing it with a controller. Spent an hour not getting very far with the weapons that didn't lock on due to precision required to line up shots. I'm not sure what he means there. I think he means he was having some trouble firing. Approaching the 2-hour mark, I thought to myself, if I exceed 2 hours, the refund max, I'm still not comfy. I've burned some money, so I refunded it. Probably would have been okay after X hours, but the time limit on refunding pressured me into returning the game before I could get out of there out of fear of wasting my money. I think that's perfectly fine. Like, we live in an era in which video game publishers, developers do not make demos anymore. I think it would be perfectly fine if there was a trial period on Steam and other services in which, would you like to be able to play this for an hour? No questions asked. Here you go. Like, that range could maybe change based on the game. If we're talking a simple action game, maybe you only allow someone to play for 10 minutes, because if they played for an hour, they might get all that they want out of that. If you were to play, to just pluck an example, Gone Home, right? Like, an hour wouldn't make a lot of sense for that one necessarily. But I'd love it if there was just a blanket across the board. Here, you can just give this a shot. No questions asked. No money exchanged. Maybe there are limitations on it, right? Like, maybe it's not the full game, but gosh, there used to be demos, and now just demos are not a thing anymore, and I find that incredibly frustrating. I'm sure part of it is just because of the production schedules, but I used to love that on Xbox Live in the 360 era that Microsoft mandated the creation of trials so that if you wanted to play a game, you could try it before you buy it. It seems like a really simple concept, but it's one we've abandoned as video games have moved on into the digital age. It's something that we've lost in the transition to digital, in which, yes, digital brings conveniences, but we certainly have lost all sorts of consumer rights in the process. And refunds, I think, are a way of bridging that gap, in which maybe we can't bring the demo back, but if you can play something for 2 hours, essentially put a hold on your credit card for that $20 or $30 or $60 or whatever the game might cost, If it doesn't work out for you, if it turns out this just isn't for me, I'm not really getting into this, you can get your money back. And I think that is completely 100% freaking reasonable. I absolutely think it can be abused. There are going to be some people that use that way too judiciously in a manner that I hope Steam is able to sort of catch and let people know, like, hey, we're not going to allow you to keep doing this. You're no longer going to be able to get refunds. But generally speaking, I think a lot of people are going to be good faith actors in this. And for all of the ones who are bad faith actors, it is worth it for the protection that you can play a game, and if it's broken, you don't like it, it doesn't work, whatever the case may be, you can get your money back. I think for you, my friend, that was a case of Steam refunds working exactly as intended. And that makes me really happy that we live in an age in which you can now do that. As I wipe the sweat off of my face. P. Hoax says, do you think they'll ever fix Batman Arkham Knight, or is this game going to be like Assassin's Creed Unity, half broken and poorly optimized? Also, what do you think about Resident Evil 5? That game is probably one of the best PC ports of all time, but Capcom managed to break everything and seems like they're not going to fix it since they have, quote, other projects. I do think they're going to... Hard to say what's actually going to happen with Arkham Knight, right? So I'm not going to say it's going to magically turn into the best PC port of all time. I don't think it'll necessarily be as good as Resident Evil 5, as you sort of point out. I guess Resident Evil 5 in the context of when that port was good. Don't have a lot of experience with what they've done to that or how they may have broken that game in the process of patching it and adding content. But nonetheless, I think Arkham Knight, when it reemerges, when they give it like the either 1 or 2 or 3 optimization patches that kind of get at some of the nagging issues there, my guess is that's going to be a significantly improved port. I don't think you take it down from Steam. I don't think you prevent people from buying it. I don't think you go through all this sort of public dragging through the mud unless you're going to invest the resources to do it right. And now, do it right might not mean that it's as good as if they were maintaining that PC port the whole way through. But I have to imagine if you're going to suddenly flip on the switch for $60, you're going to want to deliver something that you can stand behind in a way that you couldn't before. So I do think that port is going to improve. I don't have anything to report on that front. I haven't done any investigation into exactly where they're at on that. They just put out a statement not too long ago over the weekend in which they said, we're still working on it. We've identified the major issues. It's still going to be a little more time. People have said, well, why aren't they talking more forthright about what's going on with the PC version? I think it's possible that they're still in the middle of figuring out what exactly they need to fix, how to fix it, and the moment you give a deadline, you miss that deadline, people are going to be furious. Whereas if you just say, we're working on it, yes, people are going to be angry, but they can't buy the game. If you already bought the game, it's your choice if you're going to continue playing something that is a little busted up. I have chosen to do that. The game runs okay enough with a user tool that someone put out, which kind of sets the system settings in a most optimal way to try and get your frame rate up. Still bounces and stutters, but totally playable, and I want to just get through the game. So, yeah, hopefully that pans out. Also, I guess the port could be garbage and remain garbage. That's also a possibility. Anonymous asked, I was recently playing Sly Cooper 3, and I realized how unusual it was to have a playable character that is wheelchair-bound. Are there any other games that allow the character to control a wheelchair-bound character? I don't know. Let's do a Google search. Wheelchair characters, video games. That's an interesting question. The disabled are not usually... Oh, look at this. Giant Bomb, wheelchair characters. Jack Kane, a U.S. federal agent committed to locating the assassin known as Agent 47 from the Hitman games. Agatha, an elderly blind woman who helps Lucas Kane in the game Indigo Prophecy. Alessa Gillespie, a main character from the Silent Hill franchise. She's the daughter of Dahlia Gillespie and a key figure in the town's sinister history. Barbara Gordon, that's true. She gets shot by the Joker. Bentley from Sly Cooper. Chuck Green. Chuck Green is a former national motocross champion and the main character of Dead Rising 2 and Dead Rising 2K0. He's the father of... What? What does that have to do with the wheelchair? Dr. Finkelstein from Nightmare Before Christmas. Gehrman from Bloodborne. That's true. Grandpa Marsh from South Park. Harmon Smith, the wheelchair-bound schizophrenic assassin and lead character of the game Killer 7. Huey Emmerich, the father of Otacon for the Metal Gear franchise. So there's like a decent number, but yeah, you know, like if we even go broader than wheelchairs, disabled characters are not necessarily broadly represented in video games. It's kind of why I'm interested to see what happens with Perception, the upcoming game from some extra rational folks, in which you play a blind woman who's going to investigate a house, and she taps her cane, which allows her to, you know, through magic, you know, she has like a supernatural ability to visualize the world around her a little bit. So I think the idea of, obviously you cannot, that game is representing a blind person that could not be played by like that game couldn't be played by a blind person, I don't think. But I think they have talked about doing a mode that would make it more playable to folks with some visual disabilities. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's just like anything else. Like, if games had more characters who are disabled, it would represent more of what is the actualized experience for lots of people in the world, and it would make a more diverse, interesting set of characters for us to experience, because a lot of the ones on this page are interesting characters. Mika Holm. Ace Team is making a survival game in which you play some alien bird on an alien planet. That is all. Father, mother. Yeah, if you guys haven't played the other games from Ace Team, like, their shit's weird, man. Like, you need to get on that. Ace Team has made some of my favorite stuff in the last, I don't know, 5-10 years. I mean, I guess it's really, I'm thinking about Xenoclash. Please make another Xenoclash. Xenoclash 3 in Independence Day. Sure, whatever you gotta do to get it made. I'm not gonna complain. I just want to play that game. Anonymous, I noticed there are a lot of Stephen King books on your bookshelf. There are. Any recommendations? I highly recommend picking up any of Stephen King's short story collections. Obviously, the Dark Tower series is my favorite book series of all time, but that's quite a commitment. Like, you're going to be reading 7 books, and a couple of them are not particularly good. I think the story wraps up pretty well, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about the Dark Tower, even though they're making those movies, and they're kind of freaking me out that they're making those movies, and it's kind of weird to me how they're going to make them, because I'm going to watch them, and they're going to be good. But short story collections are some of Stephen King's best work ever, from modern short story collections to his earlier stuff. Just go on Amazon or Kindle or whatever, and short story stuff, you can't go wrong. It's also great because Stephen King's short story stuff allows him to kind of get around one of his pitfalls, which is that he is exceptional at writing characters, building worlds, setting up premises, but he's very bad at endings. He's terrible at endings. Like, he cannot end a book to save his life, or a story, mind you. And with short stories, it doesn't hurt as much, right? Because you've only invested half an hour into reading the short story. It ends, so if it doesn't really have a lot of pizzazz or wrap up with a lot of satisfaction, it's kind of not the end of the world. Whereas with the bigger books, it's a little bit more of a disappointment when you've invested maybe a month of reading something and it kind of just goes. Crazy Carl 008. Hey Patrick, do any of the July games look promising to you? Or you think you'll end up using the whole month on catching up? Well, we're halfway there. July 2015 video games. See what else is coming out. So I'm finishing a Batman. I'll probably finish it tonight. Then there's other stuff that I haven't really touched from earlier in the year. I didn't play Dying Light. I didn't play Ori and the Blind Forest. So those are probably like the 2 big blind spots. And then I've got some Persona game. It's like a weird anime thing that, you know, I like try to keep an open mind, and people it's like, oh, maybe you should, you know, stop being a jerk and like check out something different for a change. And so I guess I could consider doing that. But yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest and Dying Light are 2 that I, you know, really want to check box off before the year is up. I mean, we've got a lot of time, but this might be an opportunity. Pillars of Eternity I didn't play either. Massive Chalice I want to play. Now a lot of the other games that I didn't play are coming to light. Those are the ones that really stand out. I'm looking to see what else we got here for. Well, the Godzilla game comes out tomorrow. Talos Principle expansion comes out later this month. That's about it. There's not much. And then August doesn't have a whole lot. Oh, everyone's gone to the Rapture, but that'll be short. The Magic Circle, I do want to play that. Yeah, there's not a lot in August. Until Dawn, but that's the end of the month. So, yeah, I got some shorter stuff I want to play. Magic Circle, or in the Blind Forest. And then I do want to start playing Persona 4. The Golden on my Vita. But that does it for 3 Beers Deep. with Patrick Klepek. That is me. Thanks so much for tuning in. You can listen to a audio version of this on Inventory Management on iTunes. If you want to hear more from me, I do a podcast every week. The podcasts go up on Wednesdays. It's called Match 3. Gita Jackson, an excellent Chicago-based writer, and Sam Phillips, a middle school teacher who just has a totally different perspective on games culture, and observes what like children are doing with games on a daily basis. It's awesome. It's been so much fun to do it every single week. You can find it under Match 3 on iTunes. You can also go to Match 3 with the number 3, .simplecast.fm to stream and download the episodes. Your support is appreciated. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. That's how new people discover this channel and all the stuff I'm doing. And I appreciate all of your support. And I'll see you guys later. And gals, I gotta stop doing that. Bye.